In exploring mechs, I'm always looking for that angle. I'm always looking for the lulls. I'm always looking to push that tactica a little bit. And while we all have, for whatever reason, our favorite mech or favorite build lances that we like to play, in every game, if I'm setting aside a little bit of battle value to try an experimental mech, to try something different, to add something to the lance. It's a way, of course, to justify purchasing ever more miniatures, but just to try out some different things. And recently, in terms of delivery systems for indirect fire, artillery, spotters, I was looking at the Hitman. And that's what I want to focus on in this Battletech Tactica vlog, exploring the possibility of that, the possibility of using it as a straight-up mech, and, of course, while I tend to play the narrative, looking at it a little bit more competitively and asking the question, it's got some interesting flash to it, but could I do it better, cheaper, easier with an alternative delivery system? So we've got a light mech. Right away, what that means is it's going to cap at a battle value, even with some of this experimental tech. I don't want to get hit. I just don't have the tonnage to mount enough armor to take anything more than 2 or 3 hits. And as soon as I start putting in some of these systems, I've got even less armor than that. So I need to immediately start to shift to a more conservative mindset. Okay, a spotter in Battletech, the general idea is I'm there to direct fire indirectly. I'm there to direct fire directly. I'm there to reveal hidden targets or hidden enemies and get the coordinates if I'm utilizing artillery. That's my primary focus. The weapon systems I see, not so much as if I get myself in trouble, meaning if I'm out there spotting and scouting and you send in a Jenner and I have to engage, yes, I want to have some sort of weapon systems to defend myself. It's not so much about that, because I'll probably run away, or I'd be smarter to run away. I want to have a weapon system on a mech, a dedicated spotter mech, where if I come across a hidden unit, or if I come across something that has an opportunity, I might not be able to destroy it, and I still want to get out of there. I don't want to engage because it's a light mech, but could I put on a little killy, a little bit of hurt to them where it could alter the course of the game? City fight, city tech, I'm running down, the street, and there's a hidden missile carrier, not powered up. I come across that, I'm not hanging around. But if I can blast that thing and cause motive hits and now chew that up where it now has to turn to reface or turn to move, which means it's moving instead of staying stationary, that stacks up for the firing over multiple turns. That's got some bite. That's got some flavor to it, right? That's how I approach a type of weapon system if I'm looking at this. But within that framework, I'm not looking to attack or engage. So we're moving in first. I've got a long-range missile 5-pack with the Artemis missile system, which means I can be a lot more accurate in shooting. Well, it's still only a 5-pack. I mean, maybe a Valk retrofitted with it, or if it was a 15 or 20, that's got some serious bite. A 5 is just going to really harass. As I'm running around, I might take some shots at armor to try and score some motive hits. I might take just a shot that before we even crunch the numbers through the battle computer, I'm going to need 10s, 11s, or 12s to hit you. I might take it at that pesky light mech because I'll get lucky and just knock off a few armor bubbles. It's not really going to cause a ton of damage. Could I have the spotter firing indirect while it's not spotting? If I have another unit that has indirect line of sight for the spotter and this fires with that, I mean, that's a possibility. But it's still only a 5-pack. But at least with that 5 is a lot more accurate. Does that upgrade it in theory to a 10 or a 15? We could go back and forth on that. But that's the first long range firing. Then we've got 3 medium lasers. So this is kind of interesting because 3 medium lasers, this is a light mech. It's only got 10 heat sinks. This is kind of getting into medium mech territory. This is like the Firestarter, right? Firestarter is interesting because, just the sidebar for a moment, yeah, I'm going to burn everything out and burn trees and for the lulls run up to your mech and try to cook you in flames so this way your ammo goes off, in theory. But then you look and it's got a great brace of medium lasers. So you're like, hey, I'm going to run up there and support my mediums. I'm going to run up there and blast stuff with my medium lasers. And then you realize, but you're still only a light mech. You eat one round of return fire, your arms get blown off, your legs get blown off, and you're like, what the heck just happened? So I see this on the Hitman where, 3 lasers is great, but I'm going to use it for revealed targets of opportunity to deal that crippling strike or to deal something like that and then get the heck out of there. As opposed to I've got 3 medium lasers and I'm going to directly attack stuff. I need to be careful. Then we've got the Guardian ECM, the Beagle probe, and the tag system. The tag, that's going to work if I've got, I'm spacing on the name in the moment, the arrow system to fire in and guide those in. If I'm going to use that, well, now I'm paying a tax because I got to include the battle value in for that. Maybe you go for the lulls and mount one on an Irby, or maybe you've got a carrier to fire it, where you're essentially going to run this up, hit it with the mega nuke missile and blast it. I mean, that's a viable tactic, and that is the focus of what this mech is supposed to do as the Hitman. It's to deliver that payload, and it's mounted as a mech because you have a lot more versatility in terms of movement. But if I don't take that, then I've got the probe to reveal stuff and the ECM to prevent me from getting return fire. That changes it. So could I get in as a spotter into unique positions, offer the indirect fire of a support? Now, of course, I got to have that tax. I got to buy in with those long-range missiles or artillery or other types of things. Are there other ways to do it? It does have the boost, the mask boost system. And this is kind of interesting where experimental clan tech, you press the button, you turbo boost, like you're back in the 80s with Knight Rider. Every time you do it, it structurally weakens your mech. There's a chance your legs will fall off. I mean, I'm simplifying it a little bit. If you're like me, you can boost once, maybe you boost twice. That's really pushing it. I'm like boost, 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 boost. It makes you very fast. It gets you out of position. It gets you into position. It lets you run around and have people shoot at you and they need 12s while you're blasting them. It's a push your luck type system, but it is something to keep in mind. Now, within that framework, I asked the question, I could do the same thing spotting with infantry, drop off my Karnov. Fritz, it's always Karnovs. Yeah, I could. It's warriors. Fritz, it's always warriors. Yeah, look, go out and get 4 warriors. Low battle value buy-in, fly them around, indirect spot everything, get side, rear with, lasers and short-range missile 6-packs and just for absolutely no battle value buy-in. There are other better systems, in my mind, to be a spotter. So if I'm going to take this mech, it changes things, but also I'm kind of going hand in hand with that tag system to deliver that super missile on there. And are there other ways to do that effectively versus this mech? Because it still is, again, going back to, it's still only a light mech. But something to consider for the lulls or to mix up some tactica or to try some different things. It does have that value, and I think the 3 medium lasers start to shift it. But again, going back to that fire starter equation, it's got the firepower of a medium, but it is in no way a medium mech.